Hey, it's James Zed, and today I'm feeling positive and disappointed, and like I want to do something a little bit different with these videos. So, the video today is going to be a bit of a monthly check in. I am really committed to embracing curiosity and experimenting, and I want to have some sort of way of keeping track of that. And I specifically want to be aware of the fact that in experimenting and trying out some different habits, small habits consistently, there's going to be things that I dislike that aren't a good fit for me or whatever, don't work out. And I want to have some way of sort of leaving those behind or course correcting. And I want to be able to do so and delineate, like, specifically because I'm doing like habitual change. I'm trying to make small changes consistently to have like a big effect over time. And the challenge with that is that the usual kind of failure mode for habits is you start doing something and then you stop. And then you never kind of pick it back up again, right? And I want to be able to delineate between things that I kind of fell off the wagon and stopped doing and things that I chose, you know what, this isn't for me. So, um, yeah, like right now, I mentioned at the start, I feel positive but disappointed in terms of reflecting over the past month, kind of where I'm at. And I want to get to a place where I feel a little less negativity. The short version is that I've had some missteps with some of my goals, and I think missteps are inevitable, and I want to feel less negativity around them. I don't want to excuse myself or anything like that, but I just want to acknowledge the inevitability of that. And even if that feels negative, I don't know if not feeling negative is a realistic expectation. So even if it feels negative, I don't want to like linger in that negativity. Yeah. Something that felt really relevant about this is a quote by E.L. Doctorow, but I actually heard it in a book by Anne Lamott called Bird by Bird. Definitely one of the top books I've read recently in the last 5 years, for sure. But the quote, it's about writing, the book is about being a novelist, okay? The quote is, writing a novel is like driving a car at night. You can only see as far as your headlights, but you can make the whole trip that way. And I've thought about this a lot. That was like one of my big kind of takeaways from that book, Bird by Bird. I struggle with procrastination and rumination and planning and really wanting to have a perfect picture of the whole totality of everything, before I execute on it. And that's really naive and unrealistic and kind of a defense mechanism, I think, to prevent me from trying things and failing or trying things and succeeding. And I want to move away from that. I want to be intentional about being action biased, doing more things without having a perfect plan first. And the car analogy, I think, goes a little deeper too, because it's implicit in there that you're driving by headlight only, you're going to occasionally encounter something unexpected, an obstacle, a detour, a bump in the road. And navigating with those things in the moment, right? And that's essentially kind of what I'm thinking of with this check-in video, right? I want to see how I'm doing and is there any need to course correct? And I desperately have to sneeze, so oh. Oh my gosh. All right, I usually shoot these videos in one take, but I might save you from that sneeze because holy shit, that was loud. Yeah, so something that inspired this whole series of videos, not even the videos, but the principle that I'm going to try and make small changes in my life consistently in order to achieve big things. Like, I've heard it said that humans overestimate what they can do with a lot of effort in a short period of time and underestimate what they can do with a small bit of effort applied over time. And I feel like that is totally true. Super true. And I read a book by BJ Fogg called Tiny Habits, which was broadly about making small changes, often attaching them to existing habits, and you know, instead of having a monolithic huge goal, or I'm going to do this thing, and you know, it's intense and a lot, and it's scary, and inevitably we have missteps, and then we tend to stop. The idea behind Tiny Habits is you start small, and then when you have one of those inevitable missteps, it's less intimidating to get back on course, right? So yeah, I want to accept the fact that I'm going to have some missteps, some failures even. And I want to kind of sit in that negativity a little less. I want to, like, almost sort of, yeah. I just don't want to ruminate on how I fucked up, you know. On that note, progress track. So I separated this out into kind of physical things and sort of like mental things. That doesn't feel right categorically, but I don't need a perfect plan before I do things. So here we are. So on physical things, 11 weeks ago, 12 weeks ago, it's hard to account for this because I've taken a couple weeks off. 12 weeks ago, this would be week 13. I started running Monday to Friday. And I stopped on account of an Achilles injury. And that feels like the right thing to do. I'm resting it. I'm disappointed because that was the first small thing that I had started doing consistently. 5 days a week, every week I was doing that. It was sort of a basis of a lot of like structural change in how I structure my day. And I think part of where I've struggled is by letting that go, kind of this cornerstone of how my day goes got set aside, and other things kind of went with it. So I desperately want to get back to running, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I also made a commitment to my daughter to learn to do the splits. This seems like something impossible. I'm doing an impossible task, and she is working on an impossible task, getting a little bit better at emotional regulation. And we are doing that together. I have not been working on my splits though, because I got her to share her routine with me, and a lot of what she was doing did not feel nice on that Achilles. So that has also been on hold, and I think will remain on hold for a little while longer, and then we'll be right back to it. I have struggled with sleep for my entire life. Sleep was one of the things that I got back on track kind of in excuse me, in concert with running. It was really hard. It was really hard. You know, my sister actually said at one point to me, she has also struggled with sleep, and she said, you know, like, I'm great at things that require doing, right? Sleep is sort of the absence of doing, and that's what makes it hard. And that really resonated with me. I've been kind of head down on a big project that I'm excited about lately, planning out this huge motion control system for my videography work. And it intentionally, by choice, I allowed myself to deviate from my sleep habits. I stayed up late working on this project, on planning out this thing, on testing stepper motors and all sorts of weird shit like that. And I had a feeling at the time that this was going to be something that I would regret. And I think I do. But it's so fucking frustrating. Like, creative work like that flow state, that spot where you're in the zone and things come easily and it's good and productive, that comes so readily to me after midnight. And it's so fleeting otherwise. So yeah, I was in the zone. I allowed myself to stay up late. I didn't have a running habit to meet in the morning. I wasn't tired because I was doing less physical activity. And I just sort of pushed through. And I feel conflicted about that. I'm happy about the progress I made on my project. I'm unhappy about my sleep schedule. And I was really supposed to be doing yoga in lieu of running, and that totally fell by the wayside. So, yeah, not fabulous there. Overall, what I imagine that looking like is I want to get my sleep schedule back on track. I've been working on that this past week. I'm going to continue doing that throughout the week. I'd like to resume doing yoga in the mornings. And I think I'd like to carry that into next week. Use that as an opportunity to kind of see how things are feeling with my Achilles, and then hopefully get back to running kind of by the following week, but that TBD. And as I'm kind of working into the yoga stuff, I want to also start trying to get the splits work back in there as well. So that's sort of my tentative plan, as it were. Running, I want to pursue again. Yoga, I want to pursue at least in the interim, until I can run. The splits work I want to get back on as well. And all of those are supported by a framework of having successful sleep, which I fucking struggle with. So then, yeah, over to the kind of more mental health side of things. This video series is something that I've been doing in the last month, and I'm super happy. This is a specific challenge to myself. It's antithetical to everything I want videos to be. And it feels easier than I thought to put myself out there on video, knowing that there's imperfections. Honestly, it hasn't really felt that hard at all, which I find surprising because, I was talking with my friend Jack about this, and I'd mentioned in one of my earlier videos there, about how bothersome it was that my stomach was gurgling, and how if this was a video on my other channel, Opcost, I would have started over. Like, I would have just fucking shit-canned the whole thing and started from scratch. And he was just sort of like A, I didn't notice, and B, like really, your stomach gurgled? Like, that's the threshold for this isn't good enough anymore? So, yeah, I'm specifically doing this to get more comfortable with imperfection in a video context. And it's working. And I'm happy I started. And I'm going to continue doing it. I committed to doing once weekly videos for at least a year, and I'm going to keep doing that. Additionally, I have been doing gratitude videos once a day. I've been pulling out gratitude prompts from this jar and just reading them aloud and saying what comes up. That has been really gratifying. Oh, and there's that stomach rumble. Anyways, yeah, I feel like my sleep schedule thing interfered with that as well, because I had a really well set up system for getting up in the morning and doing those videos, and it doesn't take a ton of time, but it doesn't take none. And yeah, I'm really happy that I'm doing them, and I committed to working through this jar. I think I want to find ways to make those easier to execute, because the video part of it feels like a little much. I think, for me personally, I would be just as happy just working my way through the gratitude prompt, and I don't know that I have to video it in order to feel anything else there. But it was a commitment I made, and it feels like the right thing to do. And there is something there where, like, I've struggled with gratitude in the past, and I want to acknowledge that the social pressure of showing up every day is probably going to help me at some point with those videos. If it hasn't already, it probably already has, and it's hard to be perceptive of that. So anyways, all this is to say, gratitude videos, I'm going to keep doing every day. I've really enjoyed them. I've struggled with the sleep part and the scheduling part, and I'm going to get that back online, or on track rather. But irrespective, I've either woken up or gone to bed with like a positive thought in mind, and that's felt really good. Has there been any like tangible change in who I am as a person? No, I don't think so. But it's felt worth pursuing anyway. The final kind of mental health thing is stress management and entertainment. And broadly, this can be summarized as I have an unhealthy relationship with video gaming, and specifically with League of Legends. So that is a habit I do want to change, and I have tried and struggled here in the past. I think what's worked for me well in the past is just uninstalling League. I struggle to have a healthy relationship with it. The thing with League is that it feels really good to win. It takes about 30-40 minutes to play a game, and winning feels great, and you feel like playing another game. And the only thing that feels greater than winning is winning after a loss. So if you lose, well, I can't end on a loss. I got to play another one. But then if you do win, it feels 10 times better than if you had just won the first game, you know? And all of these scenarios mean that the right course of action after playing always feels like, well, one more game then, you know? Like a good book you can't put down. One more page, one more chapter, whatever. Same thing. So I want to have some healthier habits there. In the past, I've tried to only play. The only reason I have League installed anymore is because my daughter wants to play it with me, and I want to support her in that. It's fun. It's a nice bonding experience for us. I've struggled in the past to say, oh, I will only play with my daughter. And then I end up playing at some point on my own. And I don't want to do that anymore. So I want to have a simple framework there for I'm only going to play League if my daughter is playing, and I'm not going to play it on my own, because this is like this demon I know. I know every single time I start playing games on my own, I always convince myself that this is something that I can manage or whatever, and then I catch myself making bad decisions, and I feel compelled to do them even though they're counter to my goals and they're not what I want to do. I feel like I don't want to play with League of Legends, and I'm pressing that Q button anyway. I know I really should be doing this other thing instead, and I'm pressing that Q button anyway. So I'm only going to play it with my daughter. And broadly, that kind of segues into the other thing that I'd like to focus on is getting back to time blocking. In the past, when I didn't have a 9 to 5, I was really goal-oriented and focused on, I had all my time blocked out so that I could, really just focus on, okay, I'm not going to look at my phone, I'm not going to read down the internet, I'm going to work on video scripts for this 2-hour block. And, then I'm going to move on to the next thing. And that really worked very effectively for me. And I've struggled to implement that in the current setup I have, where I have a work schedule that's not erratic, but slightly unpredictable. And I have my family to support in terms of, making meals and, whatever, getting kids to extracurricular activities. I don't do a ton of that, but I don't do none, right? And anyways, there's all these factors involved. And since I've had a large portion of my day dedicated to a traditional 9 to 5, I haven't been doing the time blocking. I haven't revisited that. And I do want to revisit that in a way that works with my current schedule. And one of the things that I want to incorporate in there is time for sort of entertainment, where I'm very aware of the fact that I'm trying to do all these things, and that what like an undesirable outcome is that I never take time to just unwind and have some fun, because I'm too busy. Well, I got to be running, I got to be reading, I got to be writing videos, blah blah blah, all this stuff. And I think that by virtue of putting it in the calendar in a blocked off kind of way, that also is one other layer of insulation against suddenly 2 hours have gone by and I've just been playing video games because I'm feeling stressed out or whatever. It gives me a reason to stop, as it were. So anyways, that's sort of where I'm at and what I'm gonna try. Broadly, I feel really good about the past month. I've made some real effort to make small changes in my life. They've all gone very well. I think right now, in the last week, I'm on like one of those missteps, right? So there's a recency bias that makes me want to say, I haven't really seen the kind of rewards of that. That's not true. The videos have felt really good. The gratitude in particular has felt great and challenging to do and thought-provoking in a way that feels meaningful and impactful to my life. My physical habits, I have the reality of dealing with an injury there, and I don't want to excuse myself or anything, but I know that I can get back on track with those, and that this is just a little, brief kind of dip, right? So overall, I'm feeling really positive. And yeah, I think that's that. So anyhow, I'll see you guys next time.